Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet.
SykoStu is suing. Is he suing Raja specifically, or who is he suing specifically?
I know from a decent source that there are lawyers involved, but that was on the internet. I think it was X posted it, and then a couple other ones.
He's posted a couple things, but the most recent one I thought was the most telling. He posted a very long statement on his Instagram, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. You've seen it. You can go. He's talking more about the reaction, and I know. And by the way, let's call it like it is. Like, there's been a lot of, I can't even imagine the racist stuff that has been thrown his way and his son's way. One should have nothing to do with the other. Like, get that out of here.
SykoStu's friend and the guy who jumped in to stop Raja Jackson, Doug Malo, has confirmed that the investigation is in process and Raja Jackson is getting arrested very soon. He revealed that detectives have made clear Raja would be arrested in the next few days, stressing that everything was on video and showed premeditation. He said the LAPD often moves slowly, but confirmed the investigation was focused entirely on Raja, not him or others. According to Malo, the detective was simply gathering information from additional videos to build a solid case.
So what can you tell us from those conversations that you've had? Any updates? Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet. So the detective asked me a bunch of questions. I even asked about my implications, just because it's, you're involved and whatnot. And he goes, no, there's nothing to worry about. Like, you're just trying to get compliance. Everything was towards Raja. He asked a couple other questions about the other videos involved with the people in the back and this and that. Not for implications, just because he's just trying to get information. He's building a solid case.
Doug Malo explained that detectives told him the LAPD was deliberately taking its time while building the case. He said they already had enough evidence and witnesses for the state to move forward, but investigators were focusing on determining the level of premeditation. According to Malo, the detectives even asked him about the meaning of certain conversations and terms, trying to understand their context.
The detective I talked to outside of the case, just asked him about formalities, what I should look at, what not to look at. He was saying that this is just how LAPD works. They drag their feet. So they're building the case right now. They get all the evidence. The state's going to pick it up because there's so many people, so many witnesses. Heck, even my little brother saw it. My girlfriend, my mom, all the kids that saw it, all the people there. So that right there, they have the evidence enough to try the case. And then what they're trying to figure out is what level of premeditation is, from my understanding, is why he's trying to figure out what conversations took place, what conversations mean. He was asking me what specific terms mean exactly, and like what they mean to the person they're telling them to.
Doug Malo revealed that lawyers are already involved and said he fully expects Stuart Smith to sue Raja Jackson. He explained that based on reliable sources, legal action is highly probable and the process is already in motion.
SykoStu is suing. Is he suing Raja specifically, or who is he suing specifically?
I know from a decent source that there are lawyers involved, but that was on the internet. I think it was X posted it, and then a couple other ones.
But is this confirmed, for a fact from your source, right?
That there's lawyers involved.
Is there any idea of who he's suing?
I think their first name starts with an R and their last name's Jackson.
Yeah, we know that there are lawyers involved, so let the process play out, and then we'll know it by ear. But I can say there's a high probability of that.
That's what's gonna happen to Raja?
Yeah.
That literally sounded like a jail door.
Straight to jail.
Yep.
Doug Malo further admitted that the situation had caused him a lot of anxiety and frustration. He said he wanted to move past the drama and reach a higher level in wrestling, aiming to sign with a major promotion. Malo explained that he often feels the truth gets buried and speculation takes over, leaving him stuck in the middle. For now, he felt the best option was to stay quiet and focus on moving forward, stressing that he never asked for this situation and only tried to break up what turned into an attempted murder.
This has happened. You've gotten a lot of positive attention, Doug. What's next for you as far as in wrestling and just in general? What are your plans moving forward?
I don't know now. I want to get to an upper echelon, and I want to be somewhere, and I don't want to sit here and have to deal with all this drama anymore. I feel like I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. If I say how I feel or just tell the truth, you know what I mean? I don't know. It gives me a bunch of anxiety, dealing with this whole situation. I want to get signed. I want to go somewhere. I'm cool with AEW, MLW, WWE, anywhere, right? But all of this leaves it up for everyone to speculate on, and the truth always gets buried. You know what I mean? And then years later, it might come out and it's oh, that was the truth. They were right. They were this, right? But I feel like right now, it's the best thing for me to do is just shut myself in a room and be quiet, because this is a lot. I didn't ask for any of this shit. All I did was break up a fight or attempted murder. It's a lot.
John Bradshaw Layfield also condemned Raja Jackson's actions, saying the assault went far beyond a fight. He made it clear that all responsibility rested on Raja, while also showing concern for Rampage Jackson, who was dragged into the situation. Layfield pointed out that hitting someone who's already out cold crosses the line of basic human decency.
Attempted murder. Yeah, there's no other way to describe it. And I'm gonna give you some caveats about what could have been done, but I want to make it very clear. This is 100% Raja Jackson's fault. 100%. The fault and the blame lies 100% with this man. I feel sorry for Rampage. He seems like a really good guy. His talking about his son had a concussion. We can talk about that in a minute. And that he never should have been there to put him in that situation, which is, I think, correct. But 100% of this blame goes on Raja. I mean, no matter what happens here, once this guy's out, the fight's over. If it is a fight, the guy didn't know he was in a fight. So forget about the fact that, the guy thought he was working and, he knocks him out. But at that point, it's just attempted murder. I mean, you're hitting. I don't care what happens. I don't care if this happened in the back. A guy's down and out and you just keep punching him. There's no call for that.
Similarly, Ariel Helwani ripped into Raja Jackson, describing the situation as pure foolishness. He called Raja's behavior outrageous and argued that any punishment he faces will be well-deserved. Helwani also highlighted that despite how serious it looked, no legal action had been taken against him yet, which he found surprising given the recklessness of the act.
An absolute shitstorm of stupidity. I mean, just even calling it a shitstorm of stupidity is being kind. And it starts with Raja himself. What he did and the way he acted was absolutely insane. He deserves anything that is going to come his way, and as of now, it's nothing. As of now, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't been anything. And I don't know if he's going to be, and far be it for me to sit here and be like, that was first degree this, and I've seen people weigh in on like what it is. I'm no lawyer, I'm no officer. What I know is that it was absolutely stupid what he did.
Ariel Helwani stated that Raja Jackson brought trouble on himself and would eventually be held accountable one way or another. He found it unbelievable that Raja would not only carried out the attack but also documented and defended it publicly, calling the whole thing a reckless act of self-destruction.
I don't know what repercussions Raja is going to face, but he is going to have to face repercussions. Whether it's via the court of law, whether it's via the police, whether it's via the streets, I don't fucking know. But that was crazy, man. You incriminated yourself. You filmed yourself beating the living daylights out of another man. And then you filmed yourself telling the world that you were going to do it, and then you filmed the aftermath of you justifying it. What? Absolute lunacy.
Moreover, Greg Doucette suggested that Raja Jackson may have thrown away his career and could even end up behind bars. He explained that years of ridicule and constant comparisons to his father likely built up frustration that finally exploded. Doucette believed living under Rampage's shadow, with criticism even coming from his own family, created the kind of pressure that made an incident like this almost inevitable.
And so Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long. And so, in my opinion, this is an example of exactly what happens when kids, they lash out. And by kids, I mean adults who are only 25 years of age. Perhaps he's 26. I forget. When you keep on poking the bear, you keep on teasing someone, you keep on belittling them, putting them down, making them feel less than other people. Eventually, you can't handle it and you don't give two Turks about anything. And so, in my opinion, this was a ticking time bomb. Imagine, you're this kid. You have to live up to your dad's reputation. And all he does is make fun of you, put you down, calls you a bitch, pussy. Eventually, what do you think you're going to do when the wrong person pushes you the wrong way?
Greg Doucette criticized Raja Jackson sharply, pointing out that the plan was just for a single punch, yet Raja landed more than 20 blows on an unconscious SykoStu. He noted that once the other fighter stopped fighting back and was bleeding, it was obvious the match was finished. Doucette warned that going beyond that line turned the act into a criminal offense and could easily lead to jail time.
So he gets up on top and he punches him. That was basically the script. And so at this point, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Hey, it was a script. I didn't notice he was unconscious, and so I hit him. Fine. What about the second punch? The third? The fourth? The 10th? the 20th? What about on number 27, when blood is pouring out of the person's head and he hasn't swung back a single time? Do you not think he would know if somebody is defenseless or not? And so I don't care if the guy deserved it or he didn't deserve it. I don't care about any of that stuff. When the person you're beating up is unconscious and can no longer defend themselves, the fight is over. And if you continue to beat that person up, that's when you're in the wrong, and that's when you go to jail.
Greg Doucette explained that the situation was chaotic because the other wrestlers couldn't immediately tell if it was part of the show or real. At first, they assumed it was scripted, but once they saw the blood and realized it wasn't fake, they jumped in to protect SykoStu. Doucette noted how fast Raja threw the punches, making it hard to process in real time. He described Raja leaving the ring in blind rage, doing exactly what he had warned he would do, and said the entire attack was captured clearly on video, leaving no doubt about Raja's responsibility.
Some of the wrestlers, they jump in. I mean, think of it, it's wrestling. Everyone's thinking it's part of the script. And so you're shocked at first. It takes you a few seconds. You know how fast these guys can punch? 20 punches they can put out in about 5 seconds. And so it's happening right before your eyes, but you don't even know. You're thinking it's a script, it's a fight, and then eventually you're thinking, okay, wait, all this blood's coming out. That's not fake blood. And so I got to jump in there and stop it. And so they eventually stop this fight. He storms out the ring, runs off. And so notice this guy, he's in a rage. He's in a fit of rage. He did exactly what he said he was going to do before the script. And so we literally caught this assault, if we want to call it an assault or an attack or an attempted murder. Call it what you will, but it's caught in 4K, and so we see everything start to finish, and so clearly he's guilty.
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen suggested that Raja Jackson's actions were meant to be part of a planned wrestling routine. He explained that Raja executed a double leg takedown according to the script, with SykoStu playing along in the center of the ring. Sonnen noted that the move didn't go as intended, causing Stu to land on his head and appear briefly unconscious.
Raja get in the ring as part of a wrestling angle that was scripted and planned. You see Raja come in with his wits about him, waits for the right moment, picks up a double leg, just as it was planned. And he's doing this with SykoStu, and SykoStu is letting it play perfectly. Raja then turns him around so that when he brings him down, it's right in the center of the ring, which appears to be very clearly what they agreed and had planned to do. Now, the landing is not great. When Raja brings SykoStu down, it's not great, and Stu lands in a way and he hits the back of his head, and he looks as though he perhaps lost a level of consciousness right then.
Chael Sonnen analyzed Raja Jackson's strikes, noting that while they appeared harder than usual stage moves, they didn't start off aggressively. He explained that Raja initially followed a planned sequence, then threw a punch resembling a real MMA strike. Sonnen said that after this point, the scripted routine broke down as Raja lost control and began hitting with genuine anger.
While they were very stiff shots, not what we would call a working shot, it did not appear that Raja had lost his temper. It did not appear that these were being done out of anger, as much as, all right, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to spin you in a 180, I'm going to bring you down in the middle of the cage, then just like a cage fight, I'm going to land a punch to either side. Whatever's supposed to happen after that. There was a couple of guys there, a referee, another wrestler, perhaps the boys step in. We'll never know. Because at this point, it appears that Raja marked out for his own gimmick and really begins laying some shots in, but those shots are done out of anger.
However, Greg Doucette strongly disagreed with Chael Sonnen's view. He argued that no one can truly consent to being seriously harmed, even if they agree in theory. Doucette compared it to an extreme example, someone asking for their arm to be cut off, and said, that doesn't make it okay. He emphasized that just because it was staged fight doesn't mean Raja had the right to keep attacking, especially when SykoStu was unconscious and unable to give consent.
Chael Sonnen, on the other hand, he has a completely different take. He's saying, hey, this is staged. I'm sure they agreed to the fight. And so if he wakes up from all of this and says, hey, it was part of the fight, it was scripted, then no problem. It's okay. I totally disagree with it. I don't think that you can consent to being murdered. I feel like you can't consent to that. To the same extent, if I say, hey, you know, my arm is tingling a lot. It's bothering me so much. I don't like it. Somebody cut off my arm. Somebody please cut off my arm. I don't like it. Stop it. And somebody comes up with an axe and cuts off your arm and says, there, I got you, bro. You can't do that. What if bro was on D and was having a bad trip and you just cut off their arm because he asked you to? You can't consent to these things. And so, Chael, no, you can't just say, oh, well, it's a fight and you can do what you want. He consented to this and he couldn't tell he was unconscious. You know, he's a good actor.
Big John McCarty also shared his perspective, saying the true concern should be for Rampage Jackson rather than Raja. He described Quinton as a devoted father trapped in a difficult situation, forced to witness his son make harmful decisions. McCarty called it deeply unsettling to see a parent face such a crisis, especially knowing it's the last thing Quinton would want for his child.
The problem is this: you're looking at it and people are they're trying to give some type of, you know, forgiveness because it's Quinton, not because it's Raja, because it's Quinton. It's Quinton Jackson that is the person that you've got to feel sorry for, okay, in the fact that, you know, he's hooked up in this when he's not the one that took part in this. And that's a sad thing, because he's a father and he loves his son, and it's sad to see someone go through something of this magnitude when it's the last thing in the world you would have told your son to go through with.
Similarly, Dylan Dennis felt the incident didn't look like a genuine fight, but more like a setup gone wrong where trust was betrayed. He hinted that Raja Jackson might be dealing with personal struggles and admitted the whole thing came across as tragic. Dennis even thought about stepping in to support him, whether through money or training. He explained that in combat sports, when someone puts their safety in our hands, you're supposed to look after them, which made Raja's actions seem even more disturbing.
And if he said, hey, come in here, I fucking kid, like, fuck you, like, I like really want to fight you, you know, and then, yeah, beat the shit out of the fucking guy, but it didn't seem like that. Like, he did the prop can, he's saying that, but then he apologized, and like, is this kid, I mean, I don't know.
Dude had like PTSD. It's like
it's so sad, it's so sad. I was actually gonna offer to help him, like, with money and maybe training, like, and then he shot on the other guy, he couldn't threw the other guy down. He was like, so it's like, the guy was letting you work with his body, like, you know, when you're training and even when you pick someone up in sparring, you're not gonna slam the guy on his head. Like, that's basically what they're doing in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Someone's letting you pick them up, but you're not gonna do that. But
Dylan Dennis further added that his respect for Rampage Jackson made him cautious about being too harsh on Raja, since Rampage is a legend he admires. Still, he stressed that Raja's actions were completely wrong, particularly at an indie show where performers trust each other. Dennis said that as a trained martial artist, Raja should have known better than to attack someone defenseless. He noted that in a controlled setting, such behavior is unacceptable and damages the sport's reputation when incidents like this go viral.
I like Rampage a lot, so it's like, you don't want to blame Rampage. That's the only reason that I don't want to go too hard on his son, because Rampage is a legend, he's a great guy.
Seems to be kind of like,
yeah, but like, if it wasn't Rampage's son, I'd be like, that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's fucked up. You know, to do to someone, especially an indie show like that, and you're a martial artist at the end of the day, you know when someone's unconscious. Like, if it was like a street fight and you're in the fight to the death and you're trying to kill us or protect your family, that's like something like that. Okay, I would understand that, you know? He's a 25-year-old man that's been training martial arts and has been around martial arts his whole life. It's sad, man. I mean, yeah, it's fucked up. And like, I feel bad for the dude that he did it to, you know? And it puts us back a little bit, you know, went viral and it makes us look like we're in like or something, because
Josh Thompson also noted the same thing, that reports indicated the promoter allowed Raja Jackson to take action during the match. He said Raja was supposedly instructed to lift, slam, and strike the opponent before anyone stepped in. However, when Raja executed the plan, no one intervened. Thompson argued that if this version was accurate, the promoter failed to make sure the other wrestlers were ready to stop the situation safely.
Raja shows up at the wrestling match later. The promoter apparently tells him that, hey, you can go ahead and go up in there, pick him up, slam him, go ahead and lay a shot on him, and then someone's going to jump in and break it up. Well, that's what the reports are, and I haven't heard the video or the audio of that. I've heard everything else, people talking about it, but I heard it was okayed by the promoter, that he was allowed to go in there, slam him, jump on him, and then hit him, and then when he did that, people would come in and break it up. Well, no one came in to break it up. No. So there's for me, there is there is that, the fact that like the promoter should have had all these wrestlers better prepared.
So that's a wrap for today's video. We hope you found it informative. Share your thoughts on this incident in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.